had a dream. I was on my way to Spain, and after driving all day long, I stopped for the night. I took a hot shower, got into my truck, and enjoyed tea by the open window after all day of work. I felt so relaxed that I went to bed and didn't even think about locking the doors in my truck. But it was okay. I felt safe and slept well. When it started to dawn, I got up and hit the road. Unfortunately, it was just a dream. The European trucker reality is very different. In Europe we have petrol stations with parking lots for trucks and rest areas with toilets or without. Most of rest areas, with exceptions, are old, small and with very poor sanitary infrastructure. And there are not enough of them. Usually very noisy, sometimes with lights, sometimes without. Truckers don't feel safe there, that's why they try to park on petrol stations.
Brak miejsc parkingowych, urągające godności ludzkiej warunki sanitarne, to wszystko stanowi bardzo poważny problem. To właśnie te problemy zniechęcają do podejmowania pracy w charakterze kierowcy i te problemy powodują, że ludzie wychodzą z zawodu kierowcy. Nie ma możliwości, aby biznes prywatny rozwiązał w Europie te problemy. Miejsca parkingowe położone przy autostradach, przy drogach ekspresowych należą bowiem do władz publicznych. To one urządzają przetargi, to one wybierają oferty, te oferty, które przynoszą najwięcej pieniędzy. Później my warunki tych przetargów, uzyskane kwoty widzimy w cenach paliwa oferowanego na tych miejscach, widzimy w cenach usług, widzimy w cenach sprzedawanych towarów. Żeby rozwiązać ten problem, konieczna jest tutaj ingerencja władzy publicznej. Konieczne są unijne regulacje, które wyznaczą odpowiednie standardy. Odpowiednie standardy, które będą obowiązywały zarówno na parkingach, ale także w miejscach załadunku i rozładunku. To jest robota dla unijnych polityków, którzy powinni przyjąć odpowiednie dyrektywy. Bez nich nie damy rady rozwiązać tego problemu.
On the main roads of the most countries, after 5 p.m., the truck parks on the petrol stations are already full, and it takes about 2 hours to find a little spot. The average price of a shower is €4 for 15-20 minutes of use. Some showers have a water meter automat, and the driver gets a token for 7 or 8 minutes of water only. Showers are always dirty and without any ventilations. Slimy yellow walls, mold in the corners, no hangers or chair for your bag. Toaleta na moim parkingu, ale pani mi dała dostęp do swojej toalety, a tu jest lepiej.
Jeśli chodzi o poprawę warunków pracy kierowców, doszliśmy w tym momencie do ściany. Więcej jako pracodawcy nie możemy zrobić. Jeżeli nie uzyskamy tutaj wsparcia ze strony władz Unii Europejskiej, w tym momencie należy liczyć się z tym, że coraz więcej kierowców będzie nam ubywało z zawodu, młodzi nie będą przychodzili i będziemy powoli transport drogowy zwijać. Jeżeli będziemy zwijać transport drogowy, no to powoli musimy się liczyć z tym, że będziemy zwijać także europejską gospodarkę, co odczują wszyscy mieszkańcy Unii Europejskiej, czy jako pracownicy przemysłu, który był obsługiwany przez transport, czy też jako konsumenci.
Hot water is not standard either. At the typical European petrol stations, there are 2-3 showers, which causes drivers to queue for the shower in the evenings. Sometimes you have to wait for an hour. With only 9 hours to rest, you can't afford to wait an hour at the tank station for a shower. Sometimes when you enter a shower you think, oh, this one is nice. But then, when you get closer, you see that these walls haven't been washed for weeks. What's more, too often showers are located in a back room, which also serves as a storage area for cleaning products. It is true that sometimes when a driver fills up fuel, he gets a shower for free, but most often it's a voucher to be used only at that particular tank station and with very short period of validity. In France, most showers on the petrol stations by the highway are free. Unfortunately, their standard is scandalous. And more often than anywhere else, the water is ice cold. So, this is the European standard on petrol stations. A double standard. Beautiful clean places for travelers and trashed, dirty sections for truckers. Of course there are exceptions, but from European perspective, they are just exceptions. This applies not only to petrol stations or parking areas, but also to loading and unloading places.
Generalnie na firmach dalej nie ma dostępu często do toalet.
Droga jest dla człowieka, obojętnie w jakim charakterze on na tej drodze się znajduje. Zarówno dla tego, który turystycznie jeździ samochodem osobowym, ale także dla tego, który na tej drodze pracuje i który na tej drodze musi znaleźć odpowiednie i godne warunki odpoczynku. Musimy wszystko zrobić, aby poprawić warunki dla wszystkich ludzi korzystających z dróg.
It is as if it has been forgotten that truck driver is a human being, a man who spends most of his life on the road. And nobody in Europe goes to sleep in the truck with their doors unlocked. What's more, in southern countries, drivers put special locks on their doors for fear of breaks in and sleep soundly at night. Every time they hear something, they get out of the bed and look in the mirrors to see if someone is stealing their fuel. Fuel theft is also standard.
Yes.
No, and another one again.
This grace. This one? Yeah. The truck here.
So is the lack of police interest and response. It is a very sad picture, and most of the drivers don't believe there is any real chance for change. And I was one of them. But not anymore. All drivers are used to difficult conditions. Middle-aged, they don't believe in improvement and being systematically humiliated, look for alternative work with decent human conditions. The young, as the statistics prove, don't want to work in this profession at all, not to mention women.
Co jest największym problemem dla kierowców? Dlaczego ludzie odchodzą? Poprosiliśmy Iwonę Blecharczyk o pomoc i rozesłana została ankieta, w której wzięło udział około 1700 kierowców. I niestety 70% z nich odpowiedziało, że złe warunki sanitarne, brak miejsc parkingowych, wszystko to, co się dzieje po zatrzymaniu pojazdu, czy to na parkingach publicznych, czy to na miejscach załadunku i rozładunku, to wszystko powoduje, że myślą o porzuceniu zawodu kierowcy. To wszystko powoduje także to, że młody człowiek, który często marzył o tym zawodzie, wyjechał po raz pierwszy w trasę, po powrocie rzuca kluczyki i mówi: nie, ten zawód nie jest dla mnie.
But one thing is for sure, we have all got fed up. It is evidenced by the dozens of photos sent by truckers just within an hour of my post asking them for pictures. Would you even bathe your dog in such a place? I have bathed in such. Almost every time for 12 years now. I should be ashamed probably, and what can I say, I am. But I had no options. It is so often said that if women started working in this profession, the shortage of drivers would be less. Would you want your daughter, sister, wife to shower in such a conditions? There are so many women interested in this profession, but not under these conditions. If the proportions were reversed, and instead of most of these ugly places, there were more nice ones, which do exist now, although they are a minority. Maybe there would be more people willing to be drivers. But you know what? The reality of the drivers doesn't have to be like that at all. There are countries in this world that have managed it very well. Let's move to the USA. In 2017-18, I worked as a truck driver in America. What I saw there was a huge shock for me as a European truck driver. To show you local best practice, I drove between Las Vegas and Dallas in March 2023. I entered literally every travel center, which is popularly called truck stop, and there were about 100 of them. Let me introduce you to the American standard. In US, rest areas are extremely rare. Truckers most of the time rely on travel centers, also called truck stops. The shower is cleaned after every guest.
And you clean it after every trucker?
After every time somebody uses it, I clean it.
It's cleaned after every trucker, right?
Correct.
The entire area is fully washed, including the walls, and then ventilated. The driver usually gets 3 clean towels, and there is a shower gel in the shower. There are plenty of hangers and space for a bag. The standard shower time is 1 hour. The average price for a shower is $17, but truckers rarely do have to pay. Why? Let me break it to you. There are 3 major travel center networks in the US: Pilot Flying J, Loves, and Petro NTA. These networks have loyalty programs for professional drivers. There are several levels, and a driver who fills up a minimum amount of fuel in a month, which is usually 1,000 gallons in a month, at the highest level has unlimited showers at all of the network's truck stop across America.
Yeah. So truckers normally shower for free when they refuel, or
Yeah.
okay.
The networks compete with each other by offering drivers various bonuses. The more a driver fills up at a particular network stations, the more credits are credited to his or her account. Refueling credits can also be used to pay for food and drinks. What's more, each network has an app where drivers can book a shower and are notified when their shower is ready. Some apps also show busy times at the specific locations. This shows great respect for drivers' time. The number of showers per location varies, but there are rarely less than 5. Mostly there are 8, and sometimes even 15. This is the American standard: cleanliness and a respect for drivers' time. This standard is maintained even in a small, old, independent petrol stations. The towels may be older and the rooms smaller, but still clean and ventilated. There are also premium places where a driver can have a bathroom with a bathtub for 2 hours. Rarely, but they are.
Whoa! You have a bath? Yes, ma'am.
And when the driver needs a better rest, there is such an option. The parking areas are organized in such a way that the cabs do not face the road, so that the drivers have a comfortable rest with less noise from the highway. The drivers I interviewed said that they feel safe and often sleep with their doors open. What's more, truckers are regarded by the police as their eyes and ears on the road, and therefore taken very seriously and respected by the police.
Do you feel that you would be treated seriously by the police?
Oh, yeah.
They will come here
All
and
day.
take care
Oh,
of
yeah.
the stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, I know that the American transport world is different. That's for sure. But we need to stop thinking it's different in Europe. It's not possible in here. That way, nothing will ever change. And the driver shortage will only increase dramatically, year after year. Let's rather think, how can we achieve such a standard in our European conditions? That was a very brief summary. The problem is very complex and applies to rest areas, petrol stations, and loading and unloading places. But there is one thing in common: lack of respect for truckers and forgetting they are a human being. The time to act is now. I'm very happy to see Transport and Logistics Poland joining the fight for decent working conditions for truckers. Let's give the floor to Mr. Maciej Wroński, the President of Transport and Logistics Poland.
Transport i Logistyka Polska to związek pracodawców, który zrzesza ponad 70 podmiotów z branży transportu i logistyki. Są to firmy polskie, ale są to także firmy międzynarodowe. Zrzeszamy także mniejsze firmy poprzez stowarzyszenia regionalne, które są naszym członkiem wspierającym. Działamy na rzecz branży. Firmy, które są zrzeszone w TLP, a także firmy, które należą do organizacji regionalnych należących do naszego związku, zatrudniają łącznie ponad 240 000 pracowników. I także na rzecz tych pracowników staramy się, aby warunki ich pracy ulegały poprawie.
Thank you for your attention.